In this video, I just want to go over the optimization rules for something which I like to call the killing phase. So this is when we first set our campaign going. So you would have set that up like I've just talked about in the previous video. You've set it going. And then the first instance, what we really want to do is we want to have a look at the data quite quickly and quite early on to see if there's anything that stands out that we need to get rid of and kill. If anything's wasting money, this is the quickest and easiest way to save money because obviously we're testing multiple elements at the same time. And if any of them just look like that's not getting the right click-through rate, or that seems to be not working quite well in the funnel, we want to kill it quite early on. So I've put together a little list of rules which I loosely use these rules when I first start a campaign, which I think it'd be quite useful just to lay out in this video so you can always come back and refer to it when you start your first campaign. And then in the next video, I'm actually going to go into the campaign and we can have a look how it's doing. So these are the killing phase rules. So first of all, is images. So with all of this, what we're doing is we're looking for clear losers, anything that seems to be losing and standing out. This is not where we're looking for clear winners. I'm going to go into more detail about like whitelisting and finding out exactly what's working and optimizing the whole campaign in more detail a little bit later on. But this is all about finding clear losers straight away. Just want to make that clear. So when we first run the campaign, I like to spend about $50 on the campaign, and the campaign that I've just set up has spent about just under $50 at the moment, so we're going to dive into that very soon. But I like to have a look at it once it's spent around about $50, and I mean, this isn't set in stone. This is just kind of just a figure that I like to use when I first start out. And then you look at the images, and if any of them seem to have a really low ICTR, so that's the click-through rate of people actually clicking on the advert, if any of them have got super low compared to the rest of them, then I just want to get rid of that straight away. Sometimes you don't see a clear loser and that they all might have a similar click-through rate. If that's the case, you might want to leave it again. Oh, let's just jump to the next point. If that's the case, you might just want to leave it again for another $50 spent and see whether there's a clear loser. But sometimes you just see straight away, like one of your ideas for an image was just way off the mark and no one's clicking on it at all. So you just want to get rid of that instantly. The same applies to headlines as well. So the headlines under the images I'm talking about now. I like to leave this a little bit longer. So after I've spent $100 on the campaign, I want to see if any of the headlines are really getting a really low ICTR. The reason I'm a bit apprehensive about setting like a monetary rule for this, but the reason I like to leave it a little bit longer with headlines is because the headlines don't have as much of a big impact on the click-through rate as the images do. So the images, you can quite clearly see, well, this has got a low click-through rate, so it's probably going to be quite expensive if I leave this running, and you can get rid of it. With headlines, you might have a headline which has got a lower click-through rate, but that might lead to more conversions later down in the funnel because you're attracting the right audience. Because if you write a really clickbaity headline, that might have a sky-high ICTR. Your other headline might not have as much of a high ICTR, click-through rate. And then from that, you would go, well, I'll go with that higher ICTR. But actually, the one with the higher ICTR was really clickbaity. And when they got to the offer, they was like, I didn't sign up for this. I'm not buying it. So you need to be a bit careful with this. But if you look at it and just out of the rest of them, we're getting a really low ICTR and we're getting no conversions from that headline, then it might be time just to kill that and turn that one off. With landing pages, again, we leave it a little bit longer for landing pages. But we are looking for a clear loser again with this. So I like to have at least 100 visits per landing page. And I mean, they're actually clicks that land onto the landing page. So people have clicked on the advert and gone onto the landing page. I like to have 100 visits on that at least before I work out whether I'm going to get rid of it. Now, with landing pages, I tend to leave them a bit longer sometimes because there's not always a clear winner or a clear loser. And again, landing pages have a massive impact on conversion rates, so you don't just want to base it on click-through rate. But if you do see a landing page out of your free landing pages, the one that you created is getting a 5% click-through rate, while the other two are getting a 35% click-through rate, then that's when you're like, I think it might be time to kill this landing page at this stage. So that's what I would do. Also at this stage, you should look at CPC as well, or the eCPC, which you'll see inside the stats, which is the cost per click landing onto the offer. Now the landing page has a big part in that. So if you see a landing page out of your free landing pages, one of them has got a really high cost per click going through to the offer page, then you might be like, this probably will never be able to be profitable at this stage, so it's time to kill it. The next one is the offer. So obviously this is a really important one because if we're not making any conversions, then we're not going to be making any money. It's all going to be a waste of time. Now the offer is obviously the thing at the end of the funnel. So we will be optimizing images a lot quicker, and we'll be optimizing headlines a lot faster before enough traffic has even reached the offer. But you obviously need to have an idea of like, when do I kill the offer? People have asked me this before, like, well, how do I know it's worth putting any more money into this? And I like to have at least 100 clicks landing on the offer page before I start questioning, well, it's had 0 conversions. Because if your offer is expecting to have a 2% conversion rate, which you can find on the affiliate network or speak to your affiliate manager, or you would expect it to have at least a 1% conversion rate, from that maths, you after 100 clicks have landed on that page, you would expect to have at least 1 conversion. So when I'm running a funnel, I like to leave it up to 200 clicks usually, because then if it's not had any conversions after 200 clicks, then you're like, well, there must be an issue here. I go and speak back to the affiliate network to make sure there's not an issue with the offer, or it could be you might need to change your targeting. Maybe the traffic source you're using is not right for that offer. So you would start to reevaluate that at this stage. Well, it's not converting at all. Or maybe it is that your funnel does need work. Maybe the angle that you created is way off the mark, and you're getting the wrong type of person coming into the offer, and it's not congruent. So you might be getting clicks on this offer page, but they're not expecting to see the offer page. So that's when you would start pausing a campaign, I would say, after 200 clicks to the offer page, and start to rethink things. The final thing is placements. So I've spoken about this a little bit earlier on, but when we're running our campaign, it's going to be appearing on lots of news websites and lots of widget IDs inside those news websites. These are placements. So we want to, if we spend over 1 times the offer payout on a single placement with 0 conversions, then I would turn off that placement, because you don't want to be wasting money on that. You can leave it a little bit longer if you've got a bit more of a budget and you want to push it a bit further. But I would say 1 times the offer payout is a good starting point. Or another thing as well is if you see any suspect or low quality traffic. So this is, you can only spot this as you're going through the stats, which you'll have a look at when I actually dive into the campaign a little bit later on. But say for instance, a certain placement has had 50 visits. 50 people have clicked on that advert on that news website, and none of them have actually clicked through to the landing page, even though that landing page is getting a 35% click-through rate elsewhere. Then that's when you're like, this placement might be bot traffic, there's an issue here. I would kill that. And you can kind of play around with that. You can have different rules. Sometimes if you want to be more conservative, you could maybe go, if it's had 30 visits, no clicks. If you want to save a bit more money, then kill it. The only thing you need to be aware of here, what we're trying to do is kill losing elements of the campaign. We don't want to over optimize too early on without giving it enough time to breathe and enough time to see whether they are going to convert at a later stage. So just because one of your images has got the first conversion and one of your landing pages has got the first conversion, that doesn't necessarily mean you should kill everything else and just focus on that, because you need to give it enough time to breathe. But this is just basically if you see anything that looks like it is going to lose money or it just doesn't look right, you want to kill that, and then you want to leave it a little bit longer and kind of watch the data as you get more conversions coming in, and then we can continue to optimize a little bit later on. But that is the killing phase rules for now.